All right, friends, family, fans, back. Episode number 2 of Best Ball, Underdog. I have a few on the clock here, so we're going to get right into it. As always, the show is using my best ball draft, DAWG Dominator, for PGA Best Ball, which starts in 2025 at the Century. Get yourself signed up. Use code Mayo right now. Get $1,000 deposit bonus. Boom. Go check Underdog out. It's fun as balls. Let's get right into it. I'm going to show you some additions I've made to the tool as we go along. But I've got 3 that have to be done in 15 minutes here. So we've got the Phoebe cam, we've got me, we've got the whole shebang going on. So scramble number 32. I've already plugged it into my DAWG Dominator over here. Let's pull this right in for y'all. And let's tidy up the zoomage just so that it doesn't look too chintzy. And we'll go to 90 and see what happens. There we go. All right. So this is the situation. As we can see over here, we are on the clock, 16 minutes to go. And we've got Sanjay M, Sahith, Tom Kim, Benny On, Justin Thomas, and Nico Echeverria. Have I plugged those in? Yes, I have. And as a result of these 6 guys using the DAWG Dominator, this grid up top here, it shows us we are lacking some golfers for round 1. The first tournament of round 2, the 6th tournament of round 2, and the 4th tournament of round 4. So we're typically going to find it's the Mexico Open, the Houston Open, and the Rocket Mortgage. A lot of these guys don't tend to play in the Rocket right after the Travelers and US Open slog. So we're trying to highlight some of these guys. We can go down here, hit the Mexico Open. We can kind of scroll down, make sure we just take out the blanks, make sure we just take out the blanks for the Rocket as well. Remove those. You can also go to the Houston, make sure that's going to take out the blanks as well. So we are guaranteed to have ourselves these guys. All right. So what I've done is I've added exposure percentages here. So these are guys that I've drafted already. You can tell which dudes I've been drafting a shit ton of, and they haven't even updated for the previous kind of drafts that I've done. And Phoebe is sleeping on the other side today. So it's like she's got herself a whole different angle we're going to have to work with there. But we're getting back to our underdog, not the dog in the background, the Underdog Dominator. So we're going to have to find some guys we're going to play here. So Nick Dunlap, unfortunately, isn't going to probably make it for us, even though we're getting some solid ADP value on him over there. He's just not a dude that kind of fits the mold for us. Is he an ADP value? Yeah, he's getting drafted 34th. So he's not even on the chart over here. So if we go to Nick Dunlap, I don't think we're going to find his name in this situation. No. So he doesn't cover those three tournaments we're really looking for. Who does is JT Poston, potentially. Mark Hubbard's been drafted probably by now. I think he just got picked as well. Yep. So he got drafted. Unfortunately, we got to have to find ourselves some options. We want to look for, I think Andrew Novak's going to be our guy, ranked as the 9th option. Also, don't get sucked into ADP stuff, friends. What's up, Sia? Just some Underdog hangout sesh. This is nothing too crazy. We will get to the RSM on the Rotoballer PGA show tonight with Kenny on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates. My show tomorrow, 7 Eastern on Mayo Media. Back 9 bets, baby. So let's go find ourselves an Andrew Novak who is playing some really good golf, getting himself in the mix. In fact, his current situation, world ranking-wise, is 122nd, so that's not going to help him get into any of the majors, but he's 70th in the FedEx Cup rankings right now, which is a big deal. So we're going to use the DAWG Dominator, pull up Andrew Novak stuff. He checks out a lot of boxes for us, goes from 64th ranking to 9th because we haven't drafted too many of him, and he's a solid option for the second round of tournaments where he's going to be playing 6 events in that stretch. So he's going to take care of a lot of damage for us. So we're going to pop in Andrew Novak over here. Boom chakalaka. As you see, the grid updates itself. We've now got a few 6s and 7s, which are the optimal amount of golfers you're looking for in these tournaments. You want at least 6 guys in every event so you can maximize as many points as possible in those tournaments. So let's go find Andrew. Let's draft him into our lineup. Boom. Okay, scramble number 19. That is going to be Sanjay, Sahith, Tom Kim, Si Woo, Nick Dunlap, Denny McCarthy. Jesus, I have to add all these guys. I'm going to pull this off the screen real quick so I can do that. So the DAWG Dominator is a tool you can go grab and you just make a copy of it for yourself. I have my own other tool, which in fact I'm going to do quickly. I'm just going to use mine because it's already got these guys pulled in and I've already got all my different lineups in here. Because I'm not going to type in all these numbers real quick. I just showed you guys what you can get on the DAWG Dominator. This is an older version, which I'm using, but the DAWG Dominator with the new updated exposures and stuff that you can use for yourself is out there. So I've already kind of pre-planned my draft over here, which is the fun part about this thing. You can kind of, once you get a feel for who you have drafted already, you can kind of just bang out a few mock drafts ahead of schedule. Let me get this out of my way too, so that you can really kind of figure out where you want to go with guys. So we are on the clock with pick number 54. So we've only got 2 picks left, and we've got Matthew McCarty in there at the end. So we need probably Rasmus and Jonathan Vegas in our 1-2 jump arounds. So we've got Sanjay Sahith, Tom Kim, Si Woo. Let's make sure we've got the right things. We don't. Gosh darn it. Let me type it in properly quickly. I'm on number 19, not number 11. That's the problem. Okay, let's go to 19 down here. Boom. That should bring out, there we go. All right, so now we're talking business, yeah. So, number 19, we have Matthew McCarty and Ricky Fowler as our last 2 options. We've picked him already, so we don't have Tristan or Rasmus lined up. Let's see if we can find those 2 guys available to us. By ADP, we got Nico. Nico's dropping again. That would be a nice snag if we didn't have a million of him already. So let's go to Tristan, who, by the way, is second in DP World Tour priority ranking. So he comes in right behind Rasmus. So we're going to knock both of these guys out the park over here. They're 2 DP World Tour guys. And the DP World Tour dudes get into the Open Championship, by the way. That's a result of their criteria by being in the top 10 of the race to Dubai. So you want to make sure you get a few DP World Tour guys in, and we get into 164. We took a bit of a bang on the Mexico Open, which I think a lot of people will, but hopefully we can kind of survive that and optimize the rest of our lineups and events with these dudes. So we have got some nice names to click. Let's get Rasmus in there, and then we're going to go ahead and get Tristan in there as well, who kind of finishes up our draft for that one. So that one's finished. We got 9 minutes for scramble number 26. Anyone got number 26? B 26, or is it I 26? 2 and 6, I 26. All right, so this goes NA. I need to fix that when it finishes the draft. But for number 26, we've got Scotty, Akshay, Tom Kim, Max Grieseman, Nick Dunlap, Jason Day, and Matt McCarty. I've been drafting a lot of Matt McCarty. We're going to go with Thomas Dietrich, Rasmus Højgaard, and Harry Hall to kind of optimize our ending here. Rasmus is going to give us some love in Mexico, but Thomas Dietrich is not going to give us any Mexico. So now if we wanted to go find some Mexico options, we could go do that real quick. But I think Dietrich is going to do a lot of other damage for us in other departments. So what did Dietrich give us? He was a 160 for a total kind of amount of golfers going to be playing each event, given this, and it only counts up to 6. So if you've got 8 guys playing in one round in one event, it's only counting 6 of them because only 6 scores can count. So we got Dietrich in there. If we go here to the bottom, and I'm going to remove Dietrich out of here, get him out of there, and filter by A to Z to give us the best options available at the Mexico Open. Michael Thorbjornsson, I've got graded as a fantastic option this year. He's 70th in my rankings. 62nd in my rankings, but with his schedule, he gets us to essentially the third best option. So he needs to get his stuff figured out. Doesn't even have world ranking points in this model right now, but I have updated that on the actual DAWG Dominator. So he will have his new updated official world golf rankings in there. Let's figure out, do we want to go with Thorbjornsson? We get him to 158. So that's why we went with Dietrich. You know, even with that situation, we're taking a bit of a ding, but Dietrich provides us with some really, really solid options. So we're going to go with Thomas Dietrich in this situation over here with us. So let's get Dietrich in there. Bing, bing, bing. Draft him. And then we've got another one we can just knock out right away. Who did it say we have in our queue? Rasmus and Harry Hall. Beautiful. Let's go Rasmus. I feel like his ADP is likely to be clicked before Harry Hall. Harry Hall, by the way, plays in Mexico, and he also will be at the Century. Rasmus will not be at the Century. Potentially won't even be at the Sony or the Amex. The boys from the DP World Tour typically show up round about the Farmers. So we're going to get Rasmus here, and then we'll take Harry Hall on the back end. Now we can relax a little bit. I can show you the DAWG Dominator properly. I just wanted to knock out a few of those ones quick. So you're going to go in, hit file, make a copy for yourself, and then that is yours for you to use. Boom chakalaka. You've got that available to you. Go check it out. Link in the description below this video on YouTube. It's on my bio for X, or just go to Patreon and use The Model Maniac, and you'll find me in there. It's a very affordable product considering it's basically 3 drafts out of the 150 that you're going to be using, $30. And I think out of 150 drafts, that's a solid investment because you're going to be optimizing the crap out of your stuff over here. Very essential to me, in my opinion. So some things we want to do. So exposure. I don't have any exposure in here. What you want to go do to use this and add it to the tool that is yours. We want to go to completed Underdog drafts. You can go email me an exposure, CSV, or you can just manually type the stuff in if you're that antiquated. But I would suggest you just get the CSV emailed to you, copy that from your email, and then you just paste it right in over here. So I need to find the one that was emailed to me because I can't click it right now because you can only get one a day. So I'm going to do it at the end of my day. Let me go and find this real quick. ADP, book. No, I have it in the other one, I believe. My own one. Because I have some sort of an exposure ranking in my old one. Jumping between these two different things is rough, but once you make it your own, I've been updating it quite routinely to make it the best kind of product for you guys. So we are rocking and rolling. Paste the values only. Make sure it doesn't go into the yellow. And now we have got everything we could wish for. We're going to go to the DAWG Dominator over here, figure out what one we have coming up for our active drafts. And we've got a scramble with just Colin Morikawa. All right, so let's just do a different one because we want a few more options. We've got a whole bunch of new drafts starting up. Yeah, this one seems fun. Okay, let's go Sanjay, Akshay, Aaron, just to start off and just show you what's going on. So we're going to go Sanjay, Akshay, Aaron, whoopsie, Aaron. There we go. We haven't so far in the drafts that I have completed because they slow drafts. We are not going to be getting as much exposure yet as we should because we've got tons and we've got like 70 drafts live. But if you're just doing quick, short 30-second drafts, you can just grab those exposure rates after each day, update it in this file, and then you can see exactly what's going on. I know I've kicked a few Aarons. I know I've kicked a few additional Akshays lately and a lot more Sanjays. So once those drafts kind of get filtered into the system, I'll know more about that. But that's only a personal problem because I'm doing the slow drafts here in Iowa. I started a bunch of them in Nebraska. So you can go and do these things if you are not in a state that provides Underdog support or Underdog doesn't let you do it. Go to a different state that does. Start a whole bunch of slow drafts, and then you got to commit to that grind. Because now you probably got to draft 2 or 3 times a day to kind of keep up to date with all these things. Make sure you're queuing up your next option so that if you miss some stuff, it selects the guys for you automatically. Some hacks to what's going on. So just using this as a kind of way to show you what's going on, we can go over to Aaron Rye and let's see what's suggesting to us. So Tom Kim would be our solid option. Ben Griffin, a great pick. Jordan Spieth, a solid option. I have been clicking a bunch of Jordan the last little while, so that's likely going to do, a quick jump in exposure rating once I finish a few more drafts. But Jordan is the ninth ranked guy. Ben Griffin typically goes in the 4th round, so maybe we can get him. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Ben Griffin, right there. All right. So he fills a lot of holes for you. He's got a high volume schedule. Let's go ahead and click Ben Griffin door, and let's see what happens. So you can go in here and you just go Griffin, click him in, and then you can start building things out so that you can kind of plan ahead. Maybe you can do this in your draft if you want to, because what it does is it updates the ADP value. So every time you've entered a guy, it shows you which selection is next available to you. So pretty much is going to be going by ADP for you over here. And then you're going to go, all right, let's just easily just use this ranking model and figure out what's going on. Jordan Spieth, roundabout there. Maybe we get some Tom Hoagie. Unlikely. We got the 28th pick. He's ADP is 25. So let's go with Spieth over there, and then going with Nick Dunlap as our next option. A Spieth Dunlap duo seems like a very, very optimal type of situation for just filling holes in schedules. But now we've got a problem because we got a bunch of solid events, but we've still got another massive Mexico hole. This is going to be the dilemma you're all going to be facing if you're drafting correctly, in my opinion. So we need to figure out, do we want to go with Dunlap, or do we want to leave him out and kind of focus in on at least trying to get 5 Mexico options in there? So I think, unfortunately, even though the tool's telling us to go there, I might, you know what, let's see what happens. Where is it going to take us next? So after we've done Dunlap, let's go with another Novak. He seems like a very solid option for us. He's playing some good golf. He's ranked 70th in FedEx Cup points. So if he has a good RSM Classic, he could jump right into the top 60 and get some signature events under his belt as well. He's also playing in the Mexico. We know that. All right. So since I've updated some stuff, I guess I got to go figure out Matt McCarty's number. Good to see that. Because Matt, I hate names that are doing all this stuff. We got to figure out Matt McCarty. Let's go ADP and just change that right now. In fact, it's frustrating that this stuff is the way it is, but hey, let's find Matthew McCarty. Boom. Okay, let's go Matt McCarty and take care of that business over there. That should take care of everything for us, and then we golden. So if this kind of stuff happens to you, it should figure it out. That's the problem. ADP names. Stupid stuff. So Andrew Novak, we clicked his name. Boom, he's in. Who is our next best adjusted ranking? It looks like a Denny McCarthy, potentially. So Andrew Novak comes after Denny McCarthy. So maybe this is why you want to go ahead of schedule. You can go Andrew Novak over here. We go Denny McCarthy ahead of him because we're likely going to see Denny McCarthy first. But geez, we are just skipping out completely on the Mexico. Is the model going to do us any justice going forward? So Sam Stevens, Patrick Rogers are some options that's going to get us along there. Patrick Rogers, I believe, is playing right in that slot because he's 53rd in FedEx Cup rankings right now. So he's going to be right in those first few signature events, but we are lacking a 5th option at the top here for the Century, which is the lowest scoring course to par on the schedule. Over here, you can see that up top. You want to make sure you're getting at least 6 guys at the Century. That's also one of my golden rules. Make sure you're getting 6 guys at the Century, and the Amex is then the next easiest. So you have to be maxing out those. But with the Amex being a field that not a lot of the best guys go to, you can kind of backload the Amex quite nicely, but the Century is tough. So let's get Patrick out of there. Let's see if we can find. I don't like leaving this much Mexico Open because if we go to the Mexico Open situation, look here. Last year, it had a negative 1.1 score to par, which is the lowest score to par of all tournaments in this bucket. All 7 events, the Mexico Open provided the lowest score to par. So with it being an event that gets hard scheduling dilemmas going on, and it being one of the lowest score to pars, like if you get 6 guys there, you can miss out a few at, say, the Valero or the Valspar because those are tricky. particularly the API as well. Like I don't mind losing a few to the API. It's the only signature event in the second round. So the API is a bit of a weird situation because you're going to have pretty much all these dudes playing in the signature events unless they're outside the top 50. Then you get guys like Alex Noren, Patrick Rogers, Christian Bezuidenhout. Sorry, I'm looking at OWGR, not their FedEx. Let's go again, yeah. You've got Andrew Novak. You've got Maverick McNeely. You've got Minwoo Lee, who's just sitting outside the top situations there. So these guys can play well early, and then all of a sudden they are in these signature events. So you can kind of skepticize. You can kind of envision how a golfer's going to play. Then you can go over to the projected schedule over here, and you pop in a few. I'm adding a few DP World Tour guys still as we go, but you can go to their guy's schedule and say, okay, cool. I believe Minwoo Lee, even though he's not inside the top 50, he's quite a popular name. Maybe they give him a few tournament sponsors invites early. So he plays, let's go with the RBC Heritage. You can add one there. You can go to the Genesis Invitational, the Arnold Palmer, maybe he makes one there. Or maybe you just suggest, you know what? I think he's going to play well at the Amex and the Farmers Insurance and the Waste Management. He's going to get himself into the Arnold Palmer, the RBC Heritage, the Wells Fargo, the Memorial, and the Travelers. Boom. And then all of a sudden, you've just changed his schedule completely. You're probably going to want to take out the CJ Cup then, because is he going to play 6 straight? You don't know. So that's going to change that around for you a little bit. Or is he going to not play the Charles Schwab? Typically, they play the Charles Schwab over the CJ Cup. I don't know. He's an international star. Phoebe's gone. So we lose the Phoebe cam. All good. But that's kind of just what I'm trying to get to here, is trying to show you guys, okay, this is how this works. Let's get these schedules lined up accordingly so that you can make sure that you're getting the schedules that you want in this tool. Because the whole point about this is not to use my scheduling ranks. It's not to use my rankings. You can go ahead and change the power ranks of these guys as well over on the cheat sheet over here. So you just go to power rating override, boom chakalaka, and you say, you know what, I don't think Scotty Scheffler's a 7. Let's minus him away there. And then all of a sudden you got a different power ranking. Let's take a look and see if it showed up at this department over here. We'll go power rank, boom, boom, boom. And he should show up. So there's Scotty Scheffler as your 4th ranked option now. So that changes how you're going to be drafting these guys. So we don't want Scotty number 4 yet. We obviously want him where he belongs, at the top of the pile. But kind of just walking you through the tool over there, there's a lot of useful stuff. One more thing you can kind of go at is the 2024 schedule. It's sorted alphabetically over here, and there's apparently nobody. Or is it loading up still? There we go. All right, so it's sorted alphabetically. You can go and find, this is the legit events these guys played last year. So you can go and find, okay, Ludwig played the Century, the Sony, didn't play the Amex, played the Farmers, played AT&T, Pebble Beach, did not go to the Waste Management Open, and then played the Genesis. So that's kind of what I've used to make my own decisions here. Obviously, there's going to be situations where you go to the cheat sheet and you can find like guys like Tom Kim. Was there a status downgrade? Yes. So then you can go to his projected schedule and you figure out how to change that. But I've already done that because he's not going to be in the signature event. So I've spent a lot of time figuring out these schedules. So go check out that if you're in the mood for all of that too. So get back to the DAWG Dominator here for this draft that we're kind of going with. Let's get Nick Dunlap out of here. Let's get Denny McCarthy out of here. And let's really just focus on some of the best guys in Mexico. It's something that I think you really have to pay attention to. Patrick Rogers is a solid option going to be playing at Mexico. A large chunk of guys played in Mexico. I also pulled some stuff up over here. Go take a look at this tweet that I did earlier, because we have prior records of the starts. So these, Ben Cody tweeted out who the 10 guys are from the DP World Tour that's going to be showing up. You want to look at only 5 of the 9 because RIP to Adrian Maronk, who kind of just peeled out on us. But these only 5 of the 9 played the Sony. Only 5 of the 9 played the Amex. 7 played at the Farmers, so only 2 didn't. Waste Management Phoenix Open got 6 of the 9. At the Mexico Open, the DP World Tour guys, 8 of 9 played there. And then finally, we got all 9 playing at the Cognizant. So it takes a hot minute, I mean, for these dudes to get in there. So there's a bit of skepticism when it comes to these guys' schedules. Whoever you think is going to be playing when, you decide. I've been harping on about that for too long now. Let's go ahead and kind of finish out the rest of this draft and figure out where we're going. By the way, the more drafts you do, this combos column is going to show you how many drafts you've started off with that combination of golfers to avoid duplicates. You've only got 10 names that you have to draft 150 times. So you're going to be clicking similar names, especially if you're following ADP quite zombie-like. Don't do that. Maybe follow ADP-ish for the first 3, 4, 5 picks. Then go rogue. Use these rankings to kind of determine how to get this grid maxed to Greenville. We want to make sure that that's the case. So we got Jordan over here. I don't have too many combinations because I've only got like 15 drafts lined up, but I've got a lot that are getting close to being finished, and that'll update along with it. So the more drafts you have in there, the more these combinations will show up, and then it can help you kind of get off of similar lineups that you keep kind of clicking because of the ADPs that are showing up for you. That's one way to do that. So that's a fun way to kind of avoid duplicates, because you don't want duplicates. You're trying to have as many different combinations getting into that final 7 events and having one guy different in every single different lineup in case that one guy is the difference maker. So just those little drafting nuggets, some tips, some tools, some tricks, however you want to go about it. Let's figure it out. So we want some Mexico Open options. Let's go here. You can filter by adjusted rank. Once you filtered on the Mexico option, guys, Tony Finau's obviously going to show up number uno. Lucas Glover is 50th in the world. So he's currently in the Open Championship. He's in the Masters, and he's obviously the Players, because that's where the majority of guys will find themselves in. That's the world we want to find ourselves in. All right, so Lucas Glover is a solid option for us. Patrick Rogers, Patton Kazaya, Mackenzie Hughes. As you can see, I've got so much Mackenzie Hughes exposure because he is 51st in FedEx Cup ranking, which means he's going to be playing in at least the first 2 signature events. With that kind of ranking, he might even continue going further into the year. So he might land up playing the API. He might land up playing the RBC Heritage. He's not currently in the Masters. So he needs to get his stuff figured out, because the top 50 get in there in the world, not the FedEx Cup. So let's go ahead and just figure out what we want to do here. We've gone goofy with a lot of volume early. These are like 4 volume-based options. Sanjay M has got tons and tons of volume in his schedule. Akshay, Aaron, and Ben Griffin as well. Jordan Spieth not in the top 50, but I'm assuming he's going to get a bunch of sponsors exemptions, so he'll take care of a lot of those for us as well. So let's go with our rankings, and we're going to go with sure, let's do Mackenzie Hughes one more time. Let's click his name just for the show. Let's go with Patrick Rogers as well, since he pops up quite soon. Then we can go Andrew Novak in that department. Where's Andrew Novak's ADP? Let's get him out of here. Andrew Novak. It's sooner than this, isn't it? Andrew Novak, 51st. Okay, so we can potentially get him at 45 if we want. But Patrick Rogers is way worse than his ADP anyway. So Patrick Rogers gets 60th. So you want to go Andrew Novak there instead. And then we're going to go Patrick Rogers. And then we're going to go Matt McCarty. I think he's going to be playing a bit. But now the thing is, we are lacking Century Tournament of Champions guys, because now you need the Mexico guys as well. So we need to get rid of Patrick Rogers and go to my main man. I've got like 3 or 4 guys at the end. So his name is Harry Hall. His name is Matt McCarty. And his name is Jonathan Vegas. And those guys have all won on the PGA Tour. This is a nasty draft. Holy cow. I usually try and get it into the 150s, but what we are kind of assuming here with these particular names, Ben Griffin isn't inside the top 50 yet, but he's flirting with it. So he could find himself getting in there. We've got Mackenzie Hughes, who could also continue finding himself going into round 2, round 3, round 4 signature events, because the threes are really hurting us. So the third one, it's the API. We'd imagine Ben Griffin gets in there. So let's take out Johnny Vegas just so that this thing clears up. But no, let's just keep him in there. So round 3 is API. So round 2 and 4 of the third round is the RBC Heritage and the Truest. So if we get Ben Griffin, Mackenzie Hughes, Jordan Spieth, Andrew Novak, Harry Hall, Matt McCarty, Jonathan Vegas, these are all guys that are very close to getting themselves into the FedEx Cup. So Andrew Novak should be here somewhere. He's 70th. So he's going to potentially do his thing. Jonathan Vegas is 73rd. If they play well, they could zip into that top 60 and find themselves playing these signature events. So we're taking a bit of a gamble over there. We're making sure that we have at least 6 guys playing the Century, because that got a little hair-raising for us there. You got to make sure that you can line up those starts, because the Century is where the most total points are scored. So it's almost like 1.5 events, considering you've got the Genesis Invitational, which plays 3.5 strokes more difficult than the Century. The Farmers plays 4 strokes more difficult than the Century. So you have to make sure you get your 6 guys in the Century. Who cares about the Farmers? It's also quite easy to get guys in the Farmers anyway, because it's a whole bunch of the back end of the FedEx Cup rankings. So we now have some strategy on the table over there. We're going to go with, who's our guy after this situation? Yeah, we've got Sanjay, Akshay, Aaron, Ben Griffin. Okay, so let's go with Ben. We're going to hit a ton of volume. Just get our volume guys in here. We don't have really anyone significant. I've been hitting a lot of Sanjay. I don't mind it. We can zoom in a bit better over here too. So we got Ben Griffin. All right, let's do this one. Colin Morikawa. I'm just going to see if there's some ADP. Rory dropped all the way to 9. Love that, because it's kind of tricky unless you're getting like the 6-7 turn. Colin doesn't typically get all the way down to the end. So here's my next little strategy tip for you guys is, when I said don't focus on ADP towards the end of your drafts, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks. But early on, this is where the combinations matter. Like, there are not going to be that many lineups with a Colin Morikawa, Rory McIlroy, because Colin Morikawa is typically getting picked 4-5 or 3 or 4, to be honest. Then Rory's getting picked at the turn. So he's hardly ever making his way back to the Colin Morikawa world. Only if Colin Morikawa drops down to the 5-6 holes, then you can potentially get Rory. But if Colin's dropping that far, it likely means that someone behind him jumped ahead of him, which could be Rory. So it's very difficult to get these kind of combinations and a massive drop in ADP. This is like 4.5 spots. It makes your lineup unique right away. Like, once you get all those combinations in the DAWG Dominator over here, you'll notice that like this combo column with a Rory Colin will hardly light up, because you just don't see that combination. So it's very important to take advantage of those kind of ADP scenarios and getting yourself solid options like this. So we love that. We're going to go with Rory and Colin, and then we're rocking and rolling. I just start off these drafts quickly. I don't really type them into the DAWG Dominator early. You kind of just play it by ear in the beginning, and then once you get further down, you can click a few into the model, into the tool. So Max Homer's been dropping like flies. I don't know why he's ranked 16th. I've noticed a lot of situations dropping him further down. So next up, we got Akshay and Tom Kim. I mean, Tom's not in the top 50, so we want to make sure we get a few more there. Siwoo Kim, Corey Connors, Tom Hoagie. They were like top of the world, man. We go to the cheat sheet here, and you just go total DFS points for the stint It's not because you want to get by event. It's who played the most and who scored the most points over that stretch. Let's go Z to A. Boom. What do you notice here? We've got score to par. We had Scotty and Xander ahead of the world, but Tom Hoagie was basically in the same realm as them. He just played a million more rounds. He played 10 more rounds than Xander and 14 more rounds than Scotty. Siwoo played 77. Eric Cole played 83 rounds of golf in that stretch. Tom Kim, 76. Now he's not even in the signature events. He's going to be playing a lot of different events and potentially getting sponsors invites, potentially being inside the top 60 to get himself in short-term exemptions into those signature events. Corey Connors played 75 rounds of golf. Brendan Todd finds himself playing 75 as well, but not nearly as good as the other guys. So this is the thing. You don't necessarily have to be clicking the names that the ADPs are suggesting. Tom Hoagie, Siwoo Kim, Corey Connors, Eric Cole, Tom Kim. If you can somehow get those 4 or 5 of those combinations in there, you are getting tons of volume, tons of DFS points. It's a fun way to kind of get your brain into a pretzel. So let's kind of just go after Siwoo Kim over here in the 18 spot. We don't want Max Homer. He just hasn't done it for us. So we're going to go with Siwoo. Maybe we can get a hold of Ben Griffin or Corey Connors in the back end there. Maybe some Tom Hoagie. We'll see. But that's kind of what we're kind of looking at here. Scotty Scheffler goes first in this draft. Next draft we've got you. We're going to go with Xander Schauffele in the 2 spots. It's basically Scotty 1, Xander 2. Then it gets a little wonky after that. I would suggest you keep clicking Xander because you want to get as much exposure to them, and you can only get exposure to them by getting the first or second pick, which isn't even 25% of the time, unfortunately. So whatever, 1/6 is, that's your max exposure you're really going to get to these guys. So you almost have to click their name as many times as you can because you're not going to get Xander or Scotty in the 3 spot, hardly ever. For scramble number 21. All right, I'm going to go to my original one. Let's go to number 21 over here. It doesn't have the exposures because it hasn't been updated. I can't duplicate a million tabs to do this stuff, but I built this one out for us. Let's take a look. We have Ricky and Patrick Rogers as our last 2, so we need literally 2 more picks. All right, and they are Doug Gim and Rasmus Højgaard. So we took a bit of a beating in Mexico again and the Cognizant, unfortunately, but we are maxed the hell out pretty much everywhere else. Like the moment you can get to 160, things are looking real good. Now that's the magic number, in my opinion, is to try and figure out how to get as close to 160. I think I've got like 164 in a few drafts. That's just kind of based off of these guys. So Doug Gim, Rasmus Højgaard really kind of get us going in that department. We've got through, like this 3rd round is going to be super tricky. The 2nd round to get through. We're missing a Valspar guy as well, but I think all of these guys we went with early don't typically go to that tournament. So we don't know. Is Davis Thompson going to be playing the Valspar? I have no freaking idea. But this looks like a solid lineup for us. We're taking a bit of a beating early on, particularly in Mexico. But there's nothing we can do. We've drafted this already. It's got to be Doug Gim and Rasmus Højgaard. So let's go with Rasmus first because his ADP is probably higher than Doug's, right? Yeah, slightly. So we go with Rasmus first, and then we'll get Doug Gim in there afterwards. All right. Number 36 of our slow drafts, we've got Rory Sahith. See, Rory getting kind of picked in the 6th spot. You're not going to find a Colin Morikawa along with him. You're going to have Rory Sahith. You're going to have Rory. Let's take a look here. You're going to go with Rory Sanjay. I've got a few of those. We've got Rory Sahith, Rory Tony, Rory Tom Kim, Rory Eric Cole, Rory Victor. You're not going to get a lot of Colin with Rory. Look at this one. We got Xander dropping to the 3 spot. Gutsy 28 kind of took Ludwig over Xander there. Interesting stuff. I've seen Ludwig drop all the way to 5. So to me, it's not worth reaching to the 2 hole there for Ludwig because the guy's coming back. You can just grab whoever you want, basically. All right. So we've got Number 36. What did we decide to do with number 36? Ooh, we've got the exposure in here. This is where this started coming along. All right. So we've got Rory Sayed, Siwu, Russell Henley, Jordan Spieth. That's where it ends. So next up for us is Mark Hubbard, Harry Hall, Rasmus, and Davis Riley. Yuck. But, you know, he fills a lot of spots. He's in the signature events because he's not in the signature events. I lied. He is in the Century, which helps a lot, especially when you're going to have a guy who's in the Century playing the Mexico Open. These are a few of them. Tony Finau, Nico, Harry Hall, Jonathan Vegas, Davis Riley, Matt McCarty. They are Valspar, Mexico, Century. You need combinations like this to get you out of some holes. So we're going to go ahead and see, is Mark Hubbard even available? The rest should be easily attainable as their ADPs are like outside the top 60. Hubbard being drafted. Dang. All right. So where did he go? Oh, he went. Whoa. Where the hell's Mark Hubbard at you? Oh, yeah, we go this side of things. All right, he went a few spots ahead of us right over here at 36 pick. What's his situation? Mark Hubbard's actual ADP, we don't even know. So, all right, it's typically in the 40s, I believe. So we're going to have to get rid of Mark Hubbard. So what happens if we remove Mark Hubbard from the situation? We lose a Mexico. We lose a Amex and Farmers. So let's take a look. We're going to have to recalibrate. We don't have a Century that we have to do. So you can take that out of there. We need Mexico. We need Cognizant. We need Amex and Farmers. Okay, that's already filtered off for us. We need that. Then we need a round four. So we're going to go over to the right-hand side here. Round four is the Rocket. A lot of guys right after the Travelers don't tend to play the Rocket Mortgage. So we want to make sure we're getting our best options over there. And then we're going to hit, boom, sort A to Z. Maybe we go with Michael Thorbjornsen again. He's been an interesting name in this department. And this one, these adjusted rankings are using, I believe, no, it's not. Okay, it's not using my exposure. It's just showing us the exposures. So this is a bit of a different calculation, but the DAWG Dominator is using your exposures to kind of get guys you haven't drafted pushed up the rankings. So maybe we just changed. Do we get an Andrew Novak? No. He's also been taken. Jeez, he got drafted 38th. Gosh darn it. And his ADP is like 51. So they are moving down the board here. We need to find ourselves a guy that has been playing in Mexico. Look at this. Nick Dunlap drop. Nico Echeverria. This is why he's so easy to click, is because he's in the 45s and he provides you with a start at the Century. He provides you with a lot of these other ones because he is not in. He's not playing these big events because he's not in that mold yet. Like he's 99th in the world, but he's 65th in FedEx Cup rankings. So he's not even in the first few signature events. I believe he's playing the RSM. He's playing some good golf right now. Maybe he can sneak in. This is the advantage of drafting before. You can kind of be figuring out what's going on. You like the unintended battleship and bingo references. Hey, this is basically what it is, right? Like we got C3, 5-hole, E5, sunk your battleship. So basically, Sia, that's actually a great point. This is how you're kind of looking at it. You don't want 4s on your battleship grid. Round 4, F6. That is not looking good. F6 is the Rocket Mortgage. Rockets sinking battleships. The Rocket Mortgage is a tournament that's going like 1.5 under par. It's not quite the Travelers or the John Deere, but if you're taking a look, everyone's going to be trying to get guys in the US Open, in the Open Championship. These are all the good golfers that's going to be in your roster, and they're going to be shooting 10 over par potentially if they play all 4 rounds of golf. Then you're going to have guys that are going to be playing the Canadian, the Rocket Mortgage, the John Deere Classic. Those are going to be low-scoring affairs. So they're going to be guys you can get at the end of your drafts, and they're going to be scoring you tons of points because guess what? It's the easiest events. And this is when you're playing up against 250 plus people in this round 4. And now this particular lineup has got a massive hole. It's got a massive hole because we're missing 2 people who should be playing in the Rocket Mortgage. We're only going to have 4 scores counting according to my projected schedules. You need to make sure I should have prioritized getting 6 guys in there because that's easily where you can get up a lot of points. So tough situations, but don't let Battleship sink F6. F6 seems like a bad place to have a 4 on the grid. All right, back to the top over here. So we're going to click Nico. We're going to go with Nico. Does he play the Rocket Mortgage? Yes, he does. We've got him scheduled to play the Rocket. So until Nico kind of gets his ADP hit down a bit, we're going to keep going after him. And then eventually, then your exposure kind of figures itself out. Once a guy becomes popular and jumps into the 30s there, then we leave Nico alone. We go with other people. Oh, we're finishing up a draft as well. Looks like we've got one more pick to do for number 2. Pick number 2, my lord. That's a Shrek reference, if you guys weren't familiar with that one. All right, so again, we've only got 5 guys playing the Rocket in this situation. Not good. F6 seems like a popular spot that can kind of find you in some situations. So what is it telling us here? We're going to go with Matt McCarty. So just basically telling us that. We've already gone with Matt McCarty, Jason Day, and Brian Harmon. So we're looking for Tristan. Okay, we'll just go with Tristan. And usually I have him queued up, so he would have been auto-drafted if I missed this draft anyway. So that's good practice as well. Queue up your guy while you're doing your draft as well so that your next round, if you miss that 8-hour window, boom, you're going and going. But most of you will be doing the 30-second drafts. That's not that big of a deal. So let's go with Tristan. He's inside the top 50 in the world. He gives you a lot of utility into all 4 majors. Won't be playing any signature events yet. Potentially could if he plays well enough. And he gets you into those majors as a person you can click right at the end. He's also top 50 in the world playing in non-signature events. All the guys playing in the non-signature events are outside the top 50 in the world because most of them that are inside the top 50 are playing in the signature events. They're inside the top 50 in FedEx Cup points. So that's what you're kind of looking at. I mean, what a great value in this range. So we're going to click Tristan and off we go. So that's that. Number 2 is done. Awesome stuff. We got Tristan in there. And we got 163. We maxed out the first round, took an L for Mexico in round 2, but we got 6 guys projected to play in every single event thereafter. We're only missing 1 option in round 3, which is the Charles Schwab, the Truist. It's a signature event there. That's the 3rd. So the CJ Cup, we're actually missing some guys, unfortunately. And the CJ Cup is the lowest scoring option in that situation. So another critical error in round 2's draft. But the more drafts you do, the more you learn. And you can kind of also just hope that maybe those guys get through. Because the thing is, one more like drafting strategy situation here. All right. Let's get Matt McCarty out of here so we can just get those NAs out of the way. All right. So who is this and why is it not moving? Bryson. Bitch tits Bryson. Okay, so what I want to show you guys is the beauty of this grid and trying to get it greened up is we've got 3 signature events to start off round 1's 7 events. So it's 3 signatures, 4 non-signatures. Then we've got the API. Anyone that finished inside the top 125 gets into the players on FedEx Cup points from this year. So basically, we're only drafting those guys anyway. Tristan and Rasmus are inside the top whatever, but we're going to be having so many guys like round 2, round 4. I mean, look at that. You got 10 guys playing the players. That's not going to differentiate you from the rest of the field. Mexico Open, the Valspar, the Houston, those might. But in round 2, with as easy it is to get green lights up at the top here, for the first round, in round 2, you've got essentially 6 non-signature events versus 1. And if we go to the top of the board, we'll unfilter a few guys here. You'll see that a lot of the best golfers lack volume in round 2. So we'll go over to the left here, and these are my rankings. They sorted out here. Look at this. The 4 guys I have ranked the best only play 3, 3, 4, and 3 tournaments in that second round. So it's essential to make sure that you're getting guys like Tony Finau. He plays at the Mexico, usually. Hopefully he does again. Plays the Houston, plays the Valspar. You know, that's what you're kind of looking to find, is guys that can complement that second round. Because if you go Scotty Scheffler and say, for instance, you take Siwoo Kim on the back end, you've only drafted Scotty's going to play 3 times. Siwoo Kim's only going to play 3 times. Your first 2 picks are only giving you 3 of 7 starts in the second round. That's not ideal. So it's really interesting to see how it works. Then the kicker comes in round 3. We've got the Masters. You've got to be top 50 in the world to make it into that event. The RBC Heritage, a signature event. The Truist, another signature event. The Old Wells Fargo, because the PGA Championship is getting played at Quail Hollow this year, which is usually where the Wells Fargo used to be, which the Truist is now sponsoring, because Wells Fargo didn't want to commit crazy amounts of money to that. Then you've also got the Memorial. So you've got the Masters, the RBC Heritage, the Truist, and the Memorial. 4 of round 3's events are signature events. So you go from only having 1 signature event in round 2 to all like 4, the majority. And if you include the PGA Championship, that's top 100 OWGR ranking or below to get in that. So if you got guys that are playing other events that aren't inside the top 100 in the world, they're likely not going to make it into this tournament. So that's 5, essentially, that you got to make sure that you can get into there. The non-signature events take a big beating in round 3. You know what I'm saying? And then in round 4, that's when it matters. That's when it's for all the Canadian bacon. And we've got Canadian Open, which is a non-signature. The US Open is the top 60 in the world, but it's also very difficult, like last year's US Open. You can have a guy that finishes, you can have 6 dudes make the cut at the US Open and potentially score as many points as, say, 4 or 5 guys that make it through the cut at the John Deere Classic, because there's a 5-shot difference per day, per round. 20 shots difference between a US Open scoring and John Deere Classic scoring. You know what I'm saying? So if you only have 4 guys go to the US Open, who cares? Make sure you're loading up the rocket. Make sure you're loading up the John Deere Classic, because that's where it matters. And that is how this tool can really help you identify that situation. You're not looking to max out the US Open and the Open Championship. Those can be disasters of tournaments. You know, guys, you get penalized for bogey streaks. You get hit ridiculously hard. You lose 7 points for a triple. That didn't happen in DraftKings. You only lose 1 point for a double or worse. You lose a certain amount for a triple. Let's take a look here. I want to make sure we got this scoring down, because it's important to know. You don't get finishing position points, so you have to make sure. Where are we? Okay. Wi-Fi went a little wonky there. Let me try that one more time. You don't get finishing position points. So winning a tournament isn't essential. You need to make sure you're getting and a par in that final section. Let's show you here. Here's the scoring. Okay. So a birdie gets you 4, an eagle gets you 10 points. A bogey, loses you 1.2. A birdie is worth 4. So that a birdie bogey combination is worth 2.8 points. 2 pars in a row are worth 2.2. So you're looking for guys that are erratic. As always, that's basically DraftKings as well. But then a double bogey is a negative 3 points. And then a triple bogey or worse is negative 7 points. So that is insane to think about. Like consecutive birdies get you 1 point. Consecutive bogeys get you negative 1 point. They are punishing. So you make 2 bogeys in a row, that second bogey is worth 2 points. And it's essentially from then on out. You make 3 bogeys in a row, you lose 1 for the first bogey, 2 for the next bogey, 2 for the next bogey, because it's a streak. And then you've got score relative to par, which is under par or above par. US Opens, Open Championships, they are going to be over par. You're going to be taking points away from golfers at that situation. At those events, they're going to be making triples. They're not going to be making as many birdies. They're not going to be making as many eagles. They're not going to be avoiding bogey streaks. So they're going to be making a lot of bad scores, and the points for scores and relative to par, the venue makes so much more of a difference now because you're not getting those finishing position points. So you can make them up significantly at John Deere Classics, at Rocket Mortgages. I really am hammering this home. I'm sorry, but it's very important to remember why you are drafting guys the way you are. So we'll knock out 1 or 2 more here. We got a nice Scotty Scheffler situation. Maybe we find some ADP value with him. You know, Cantley, I won't be surprised to see him dropping backwards. Like if you're drafting at the late December moments, I won't be surprised seeing a Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantley, a lot of those kind of lineups, unfortunately. So it doesn't seem too crazy, and I'm not a big fan of Cantley. I would imagine people start realizing, like if you take a look at what Cantley got up to on his cheat sheet, we go take a look at Patrick Cantley, yeah? I mean, this is filtered by total DFS points last year. Let's just go by rounds. Go A to Z, so we go Z to A, and let's go find we got 83, 75, blah, 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 all of that. We're going to keep scooting down here like we are scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Where the hell's Patrick Cantley at? You know what I'm saying? So he's a good golfer, but his points per event, when you take a look at it overall, he only played what, 57 rounds last year? That's not decent. You know, like he played a lot in 2023, but that was a bit more of an outlier. And these are also, these aren't based off of the actual schedule. Because this is in 2023, that's how many rounds total they played, which includes FedEx Cup playoffs, all of that stuff. 2024 is only showing us rounds for the schedule that we will have going forward. For Century through the Open Championship, Cantley only played 57 rounds, which is 30 rounds less than Tom Hoagie. Like, why would you not pick Tom Hoagie before Patrick Cantley? Just because Cantley is a good golfer? Like, to me, that's where these ADPs are wrong. You know, like, so don't be shy. 1,120 points in 57 rounds from Patrick Cantley. Let's take a look at the top of the board here. 83 rounds from Eric Cole. Tom Hoagie had 77 and basically 400 more DFS points. You know what I'm saying? Tom Hoagie didn't even have hardly any top 10s, but he racked up points because I removed finishing position points in this thing. So you have to be aware of the situation. It's not about drafting the best golfers. It's about drafting the best lineups for this thing. So we will try one more year with Scotty Scheffler. Let's see just where this leads us. Let's see where it takes us. Okay. Go Scotty. And that's in the 1 hole. Then we have Patrick Cantley, Victor Hovland. I prefer going with like some volume. Aaron Rai, Eric Cole. Some solid options. I like them at the turn for my 2 dudes. Where is it telling us to go here? It's telling us that Sungjae Im would be the best. Tony Finau would be solid as well. And if you're not in the mood to kind of navigate it this way, look, here's Akshay and Davis Thompson. Solid situations here. Okay, so let's do that because that's going to be a little different too. So we've got DT available and we've got Akshay. So let's just go with those two guys. Has Akshay been? Oh, he got taken. All right. So we've got to find a replacement for him. Who would be next up? It would be Tom Kim. It would be Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai is technically better than Tom Kim as well because we've drafted a shit ton of Tom Kim already. He does a lot of good stuff. So let's go with Aaron Rai and Davis Thompson with a Scotty Scheffler. Boom. I love that. We're going to get lots of volume. Davis Thompson's going to be playing the John Deere Classic. He's the defending champion, likely. The John Deere Classic is the most points available to you in that final fourth round, remember? So Davis Thompson, boom, you get a lot of signature events from him. You get the Century. He's playing good golf. And you're going to get him playing a very important tournament in that final 7, along with the Scottish Open and the Open Championship and whatever else is in that final bucket. So that's the situation, folks. I'm not going to do all of these. I'm going to just rattle a few more offline. I've been talking way too much. Look at how many I have to freaking do before my time runs out here. So I just figured I'd show you the tool. I figured I would show you how to use it. I would figure out how to draft strategically. And it's not about who you draft. It's how you draft them. Shout out to toe tagging Tambo over there. It's what you want to do. So thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button. Hit a retweet, please, on the X video if you watch it over there so we can have more people see this. And go to my Patreon account at the Model Maniac. Just type that in there or go to my Model Maniac X account. It's over there too. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description below. Go ahead, join our wonderful little Patreon community that we're growing over there because this tool's badass. I'll be updating it with World Golf Rankings, FedEx Cup points, projected schedule as we get commitments, probably in December. Lots of fun stuff to come ahead. So let me know. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments. Drop them on X. I will be more than willing to help you guys. Peace. Catch you guys later.